I saw on your Twitter page, and I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but you had a tweet about the video of your 40 at the combine, which is very impressive. 4.31. Were you disappointed in that time?
No, I wasn't disappointed, but I knew that if I would have ran in a straight line, because those that really matters when you veer up to the right like that, and it definitely adds time. So I knew I could have hit a 4.2. That's what I was aiming at. But fun thing about that, I get to show people on the field now.
Hell yeah.
When did you realize, Velus, that you were fast? That must be nice. We have no idea what that feels like. Do you remember a moment as a kid where you're like, oh, boy, I can run?
I would say I was at a park. I was at a park league in Mobile called Municipal Park, and then I wasn't getting that much playing time. They really had no interest in playing with me. And so that's when my dad moved me to Saraland with him and my grandmother and my aunts and family members. I moved to Saraland. I was playing for Saraland Park Field, the same field I'm sitting at now. And I remember Bill Silver was my coach at the time. He's a part of Saraland's head board, and he was a running back coach. Well, he was an offensive coach. And then I remember him telling me, he was like, V, I'm going to make you a superstar. Because they seen how fast I was. So that's when I made the transition. And I played running back in Park League. And so that's when I realized I was fast. They used to call me Lightning V at the park.
I like that.
Lightning V was gunning for 4. So you ran like a 4.31 42-yard dash because you didn't run completely in a straight line. I like that.
Exactly.
What's it like being back at that field that you grew up at now as an NFL draft pick?
Oh, man. This field brings back so many memories. And, the crazy thing is, especially when I was at USC, to this day, family members like my cousins and friends and people I grew up with and, still communicate with to this day. We'll do 7-on-7 and one-on-ones out here. And it's crazy because, this field was the field I had my first kickoff return at the age of 10 when I was playing for the Saraland Bills. That's the OG team before it was changed to the Saraland Spartans because of the school system in the whole city of Saraland with city schools. But this was the first field I had my first kickoff return against a real good team that didn't lose a game ever since they were 4 until they were 10 years old. And so, man, it's just so many great memories, so many touchdowns scored in this field, a big part of my childhood. So, yeah, so many memories.
Velus Jones Jr., we were looking, and Danny was checking out your Twitter feed, found that you had said Percy Harvin was your favorite player or one of your favorite players. Because we've been making these comps for you, like Cordero Patterson, or we've heard Deebo Samuel, or kind of this positionless football. And you just talked about being a running back and a kick returner, but you're also a wide receiver. So it sounds like you've always thought of yourself as a multi-position NFL player.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And I can say, yeah, Percy Harvin, I grew up as a Florida Gators fan, but, that's in the past because I'm a volunteer at heart now. So, yeah, I grew up watching Florida, and I just remember how dynamic he was, how versatile. He was electrifying. Every time he touched the ball, you didn't know if he was going to score a touchdown or not. He was the most exciting college player when he was in college. And I'm pretty sure people can agree with that, And just, seeing the plays he made, even though his career wasn't that long in the league, but seeing the plays he made and showing at the next level. But I know he had issues with migraines and health problems with things like that. But one of the greatest in my books of all time.
How do you model your game after someone like that is kind of an athletic unicorn and scheme dependent? Is it hard to emulate someone who is that one of one?
No, it's not hard. Our games are really similar. If you go back and watch my high school film, I remember being in high school, coached by Jeff Kelly at Saraland High School, where I had a big, huge junior season. That's where a lot of offers came in, and I was a Southern Cal commit. Ended up committing, going into my senior year, and I was on the outside, and teams, they would cloud me, and and it was really difficult to get the ball when you was out there. They had a triangle around you, so that's when Jeff Kelly moved me to the slot, and then I even started playing running back. So if you can go check out my film on that, I played running back also just to get the ball in my hands. And so some of those traits I've been having like my whole life when it came to playing different skill positions. Being a running back when I was younger, I also played cornerback, and that's when I made the transition over to receiver. It was going into my 8th grade year, and I stuck with it. And Odell Beckham was a huge model of my game. Just watching him, prosper and seeing him, like I've been following Odell Beckham ever since he was in high school, because I remember he had a basketball tournament at Saraland High School. So, following him from high school into college, I was a big Odell fan. I was a big Odell Beckham fan, and also Jarvis Landry fan also. Just seeing that duo and the things they did at LSU was unreal. So I took a lot of my game and my mentality from them as well.
Those are great names. We're talking to Velus Jones Jr., new Bears 3rd-round pick. All right, so Odell Beckham, when I think of him, obviously there's the one-handed catch, but slant 80 yards to the house. When I think of Percy Harvin, I think of,
jet sweep.
Jet sweep, right? Give him the ball in any way. I know you will do whatever Luke Getsy and the coaches want. I know you're a team player, and I know you can do everything. Kick returns, all that. But if I gave you the power, I said, all right, Velus, your favorite way to get the football. What's your favorite way to have the ball in your hands?
I really don't have no favorite way. It's just so many things I could do with deep ball, taking the top off of a defense, with a screen, a now route, a slant. And also, I can run routes as well. So it's just so many different ways. I just really like to I'm really blessed with these abilities by God. And so, I just love the creativity, especially what Coach Heupel had. He didn't really run that many now routes and screenplays at UCF because I do believe I'm a different type of player. I'm a unique type of player. And there's not many people, especially in this draft, this past draft we just had, that have my skill sets and that can do what I can do. And I'm really good with like yards after the catch, mentality, never let the first person tackle you. And, I was taught that, by my dad, never let one person bring you down. So that's something I've been living with my whole life. And, I just run with that aggressiveness for the passion I have for the game.
Velus Jones, we watched your highlights from the Senior Bowl. You had a great week of practice and a great Senior Bowl and catches and yards. I saw the move you put on Kobe Bryant, kid who ended up getting drafted by the Seahawks. And that's on a route, too. That's on a complicated route. Did that week feel like a step up competition-wise? What did you learn that week at the Senior Bowl?
I was really blessed, with Jim Nagy and his staff, to allow me to chase my dreams and accomplish something that's been a huge dream for me coming up as a kid. And so that whole week I came with the mentality, like, show these people what you could do, show these people that you can run routes, show these people you can make plays that, I feel like I had the persona, I had the image of just a returner at USC, but I was way more than that. And that came to do with the amount of opportunities I was given. And you've seen this past year, when I am given the opportunity and get the targets, what I can do with it. And so, going in that week, it was just a whole, mentality, be yourself. My mindset I have, I don't prove nothing to anybody. I want to prove it to myself, the player I can be, and I still haven't reached my ceiling. I had the season I wanted to have. But going into that week, just make plays, and the things I learned, like the route, the corner route I had on your guy you was talking about.
Yeah.
And so at practice, I was running corner routes, and they told me how, I could fight pressure with pressure. And so, I took an inside release, and he was on the outside of me. So, I bend towards him a little bit. And so when I made the stick, that it was like going to the direction of a post, it was like a double stick. And that lost him for a second. That's the amount of time you need to create separation. And that was like a 32-yard pass. And so it was a lot of things I took from coaches, a lot of coaching points, and I was able to go out there and practice and, and put it on film. And so that was a great week overall.
Velus Jones Jr., new Bears wide receiver, kick returner, do-everything player, 3rd-round pick, is our guest. They gave you the locker next to Justin Fields. What did that mean to you?
That means a lot. Obviously, they see something in me. That's why they picked me. I was the only receiver taken in this draft. And so I feel like that's a huge part of a bond, building a relationship. I feel like that's really important when it comes to a receiver and a quarterback, having a relationship, building a bond. And so I feel like that was a huge part of that. I've known Justin, but not really like up close in person like that. We talk through social media and things. And so I'm looking forward to, go to work with him. Looking forward to, spending time with him, getting to know who he is as a person, what he stands for. And I feel like that's a huge part of the production on the field when it comes between the receiver and the quarterback.
We had heard that he liked your film, that you were on a list that he gave Ryan Poles and the Bears brass. So what's when you say on social media, have you slid into his DMs? Has he slid into yours? How'd that work out, Velus?
No, we was communicating his time at Ohio State, but it wasn't nothing like too big. It was nothing too big at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember I talked to the staff and I told him the great conversations I had, and I told him that was the best interview I went through with the staff. And I was like saying, man, like, I'm really excited about this. I'd love to come and play for Chicago. It was that Tuesday before the draft. And so I was just, talking to the staff and stuff. And he was like saying how, we was watching film. We like your film and things like that. And so he was like, we'll see what will happen. And it's crazy, God working mysterious ways. And now I'm a Bear. And I remember after that, he said, we spoke this into existence. And, he gave me his number and told me to lock him in. So I know we're about to get to work.
That's fantastic. You also said on social media, if people only knew what it took for me to be here. With whatever you're comfortable with sharing, we know you transferred from USC to Tennessee. You moved. You talked about that in your childhood. But like when you're talking about if people only knew what it took for me to get here, what are you referring to?
Man, just the whole process of my life. My mom, she did what she could for us. And, like my mom was on Section 8, she was real young when she had me and three of my siblings. And that was a, huge part of, me moving to Saraland with my father and my grandmother. And so, yeah, that was huge, to take some of that stress off of her hands and just, living in the projects, seeing different things, seeing violence growing up. And it's just look back and look how far God brought me to every point of my life. I never ever was the star. I always had to work from the bottom. It was never no carpet rolled out for me. I faced a lot of adversity, when it came to coaches, opportunity-wise, but I never ever gave up. And so, I applied myself for that. But, that was a huge part of, keeping God first, not, forgetting about him, or not trusting the process, because I know my faith was tested a lot of times, through this process. But man, it's been a journey, and that's why I cried so hard. If you can listen to the phone call, because all the blood, sweat, and tears I put in behind this game of football that I fell in love with at the age of 4. I really had to walk a whole lot of miles to get here.
That's beautiful. So you talk about the mission and that you haven't reached your potential. What's the end goal for Velus Jones Jr.?
A gold jacket. and so I never, ever, my grandmother, told me a long time ago, if you're going to do something, do it. Don't ever get no poor performance. And so, like I said, I put my heart in this game. And honestly, I can truly say, like, I don't supposed to be here. I know the odds were stacked against me in multiple ways. That's why I made that tweet saying, if you knew what it took for me to get here. But I beat the odds. I really did. And so that's how I know it was something greater for me. I wouldn't, God didn't bring me this part of that's dropped me, And so, like, I'm a big believer in faith. And, if I keep him first, everything could be the way it should be. Everything could be planned out. And I'm a big firm believer. And my life is already written.
The gold jacket for the NFL Hall of Fame. That's a beautiful goal right there for Velus Jones Jr. Speaking of jacket, you remember Matt Forte? You remember the football player Matt Forte, the great Bears running back?
Yeah.
Yeah, we found out that he showed up for day one of his rookie minicamp wearing a suit, Velus Jones, just like you. Matt Forte wearing a suit. That career turned out pretty damn good. So we like the suit. Tell us about the whiteboard, though. Like, what was the thought process?
Yeah, they would have, the plays are on iPads and digital now. Why do we need to buy a whiteboard? That's the thing that we got. We understood the suit.
Right?
We didn't really know why you needed the whiteboard.
I bought it when I was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That's when I bought it, down there training at Bomarito. And I am like a visual learner. It takes me writing things over and over. And so instead of, wasting sheets all the time, which I take my notes and write my plays on a sheet, whiteboard is real easy to erase and stuff. And that's something I carry on me, like even now as I'm going over the plays, I'm still learning. Like I just always keep it on me. Anytime I want to write a play down, and especially like in the meeting room when I had one with the Bears and stuff, like we're going over install, I'm writing a play down to see what I can memorize, the details, the depth. And so it's just, I feel like it's an easier way to always keep that on you. So that's something I've been keeping on me for a while now. And it really helps, when it comes to the learning process.
Wow, that's an amazing answer. Good for you for knowing yourself, knowing what kind of learner you are. That's a huge bit of self-awareness, Velus Jones Jr.
Yes, indeed.
Anyone make fun of you for carrying around a whiteboard, though?
They can't tell. I'll be having it in my spray ground backpack. I only pull it out, Yeah, so it slides right on in. It don't stand out that much.
Well done.
All right.
Well done.
That's good. All right. What's the first purchase with the NFL check? When the signing bonus hits, what's the first purchase?
You have to stay tuned for that. I'm pretty sure it'll get out anyways, but I'm still thinking on that. Still seeing my plans and stuff. I'm planning stuff for financial advisors. So that'll come. Right now, I'm focused on learning this playbook and making a role for my team and establishing that role and doing that to the best of my ability. That's my main focus right now. How am I going to help the Bears win games?
Listen, man, Bears fans are loving this interview. Our audience is texting in and tweeting. They're a huge fan. Wise beyond your years. A lot was made of the fact that, you'll be 25 as a rookie. And you're just like, it was an advantage because, you don't care about partying so much. You're already done partying at 25? I was not done partying at 25, Velus. That's very impressive.
No, I didn't. No, I'll go out. I go out with family members and things like that. But it's no like passion for when I was young.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
You was a freshman. You want to experience, go out with the freshman class, but those days I'm all about my business now, and I've been that way for years now. Knowing what it took for me to get here, knowing I beat the odds, I'm definitely not going to let this opportunity slip because I was at 1%, and I'm gonna do everything I can, to pull as much from this game, from connections. Lifelong friends, and career-wise as well. And so I'm definitely going to give it all I got, and that'll be more than enough.